Have you ever been drunk or high and came up with this truly amazing idea but then became sober and realized it wasn't as amazing as you thought it was? If so, what was the idea? Myself and two friends were extremely high and extremely hungry. We put all our money together and said that we would buy the most amount of food for the amount of money we had gathered. We had a total of 16. So our thought process was we could order 16 portions of chips, French fries for you Americans. We had to call the takeaway 3 times before they would believe that it wasn't a prank. We convinced them we were throwing a party. The takeaway finally delivered it, and myself and my other friend were too high to go to the door, so we made friend 3 go by himself. All of the lights were off, and there was no music playing, so the delivery driver delivered 16 portions of chips to one man alone from his perspective. Needless to say, 16 portions of chips is too much food between 3 people. Yep. Pre-melted cheese. Edit. Okay, I feel the need to clarify as people are saying nacho cheese or Velveeta or Cheese Whiz. I was so baked, my idea was pre-melted cheese, like a boil-in-the-bag rice. But for cheese, like a block of cheddar cheese in a sandwich bag and boiled till molten. And then it stayed molten, like didn't solidify, and I could just pour it on stuff. Like I was so high, I literally forgot all the aforementioned products existed. And I thought I was going to be a fucking millionaire, then started to talk with my friends about where I should live, be it LA or New York in a penthouse suite, and have a butler and maids and shit. Then I came to after passing out at some point, and I remember the entire conversation and think, holy fucking God, I'm a fucking moron. Not me, but Paul McCartney. The first time he got high, he apparently discovered the meaning of life and immediately went to write it down. When he woke up the next morning, he looked at the paper and it said, there are 7 levels. I was on acid and had a revelation that I had to make the next Google. I have no idea what it means to be the next Google, but regardless, it felt like the best idea in the world. The feeling of checking my notes app the next day for the grand idea I had and seeing be the next Google was hilarious. I have a running note on my phone with my ideas I have while intoxicated. I think my best one is, what if there was a Queer Eye spin-off called Third Eye, where hippies and conspiracy theorists try to awaken people who are already happy with their lives? Most of them are just dumb with such highlights as future math will be cool, and there's a lot of cute animal behavior. I had this idea for a movie in a similar vein of Cabin in the Woods, where these people move into a haunted house. Except the plot is from the antagonist's perspective, where the ghosts haunting the house treat it like a job and have interviews in front of a camera, reality show style, venting about how tedious the little aspects of the job are. The premise was this ghost had reluctantly picked up and followed this family to this new house in order to keep haunting them, and inadvertently stepped on another ghost's jurisdiction, and they'd bicker about who haunts who. Antics ensue. I realize now that this is more or less just what we do in the shadows. Damn you, Taika! Edit. Alright guys, I'm trying to make it as a musician, and have made decent progress so far, and when I do, I'll go the Atlanta or Dave route and bring this up in a hopefully eventual pitch meeting. Thanks for your encouragement, y'all, and please don't steal my idea, maybe. Give me 5 years. When I did shrooms, I came up with the absolutely genius idea that NASA should employ young children and send them to space for missions, because they have more natural curiosity and aren't jaded yet by adulthood, and they might notice things that a more experienced astronaut would miss because they'll look from a different perspective. I was convinced I needed to email NASA right away and tell them about my brilliant epiphany. Edit. Apparently, I really need to watch Space Camp and The Astronauts and read the Ender's Game series. I appreciate all the kind comments and awards. One time, I woke up in the middle of the night with an idea. A revolutionary idea. Something I needed to write down as fast as possible so I wouldn't forget. So, I wrote it down and went back to sleep. I woke up, looked at the piece of paper, and all it said was, Pennzoil Mini-Wheats. I've never quite figured out what I was thinking. In my first year of engineering in uni, one of the design projects was to come up with a chair made of cardboard. The idea was to make a chair supportive and comfortable enough, whilst also being easy to assemble by cutting out shapes on a large piece of cardboard so as to keep the shipping costs low. The winning design was supposed to be implemented, and if my memory serves correctly, the initial pilot program was going to be for a small community in Ghana. Edit. I don't have time to properly consider most replies at the moment, but I promise I'll get my way to them in the foreseeable future. I have, however, replied to some that jumped out at me. Thanks to everyone for the love. My friend is a lawyer, and when he was in law school did a summer internship to Ghana studying international law. We were like 2 blunts deep, and he came up with the brilliant idea to make chairs in Ghana because everyone he saw there was just sitting on the ground. He was convinced we could have made a fortune selling chairs. I thought it would be practical if you would have a tag with your address written on it attached to your keys. So if you ever lost them, they can be sent back. Seemed brilliant to me. Thieves might enjoy this idea as well. Edit. Thank you for the awards, kind strangers. Sugar bags. Like tea bags, but for sugar. Tea and 2 sugars? 1 tea bag, 2 sugar bags. As we were stoned as fuck, my cousin holding up an empty tea bag filled with sugar and me trying to carefully tie it back up with a piece of cotton, my cousin disappointingly says, "Sugar cubes." Running for my local school board. I had a lot of issues with the way the education works in our country and believed the best way to fix the system was by running an honest campaign and promising to fight for the change that would help kids learn better. Ultimately, I sobered up and realized an, at the time, unemployed, stoned, 24-year-old with no kids was not the best candidate. Imagine Discord online voice chat. My idea was that you could create subrooms within the current channel. My thought process was, I want to have a conversation with one person, but still want to kind of hear what my other friends are conversing about with other people in the channel, but I don't want their conversation to interrupt my conversation and vice versa. So my thinking was that you join like a sub-channel where everyone in that sub-channel is at 100% volume and everyone else in the parent channel is at like 30% volume. So you could all be in the same parent channel but not really be a hindrance to one another. But you could still sort of hear them if you wanted to. It seems like a good idea if you're high, but then you realize it's just kind of pointless, lol. I thought I was onto a massive breakthrough. Edit. Well, this went mental. The people have spoken Discord. Make it happen. Thanks, everyone. Usually I make big plans that cost a lot of money and then promise sober people that we will do them. So they start to look forward to the plans, I sober up and regret all of my decisions, yet still have to follow through. Most recent was that I promised my sister that I'd bring my daughter to visit her in Florida. $2,000 later, I have a sunburn. Once, while thoroughly drunk, I ordered a pizza and it arrived overcooked. Crust was like dried asphalt, and the toppings blackened and singed. So I pitched the idea to my other drunk buddies that pizza places should let their customers control the pizza ovens through the internet, so we can decide when it's done, which then lead to an entire design-your-own-pizza machine website combo, where one could control exactly how much of each ingredient to add using robotic arms. And you could watch it cook live through an oven cam. Seemed brilliant at the time. One of my philosophy professors told a joke about a philosopher having a dream in which he met Socrates, but quickly saw the proper rebuttal to his views, which Socrates conceded. Then he met Aristotle, and Descartes, and Kant, and Nietzsche, and Mill, and with each of them, presented his contrary position successfully. He knew he was dreaming, but he thought, I have to wake up enough to write this down. He managed to become conscious enough that he quickly scrawled the words down on some paper, then fell asleep again. The next morning he woke up, remembered what had happened, and excitedly grabbed the note. It read, "Yeah, that's what you say.